You do not need more motivation. You need control over your mind. Every morning you wake up with hundreds of thoughts. Where's my phone? What will work be like today? Am I good enough? And before the day even begins, you have already become a slave to your own mind. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The mind is the only place that can make you free or imprison you. If you do not control your thoughts will control your life." That is why 93% of the problems you face, from stress, anxiety, and lack of focus to feeling lost, do not come from the world, but from not learning how to master your inner self. The Stoics understood this 2,000 years ago. They did not pray for an easier world. They became stronger to face the world when life got chaotic. They did not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" They asked, "What is this teaching me?" That's the difference between reacting and mastering. Today, you are stepping into a 60-minute journey, a ritual to master your thoughts, to learn 12 Stoic lessons that can solve 93% of the problems in your life. You have heard a lot about inner peace, but peace is not about sitting in a quiet room and meditating. True peace is standing in chaos and still staying centered. The modern world is loud, fast, and overstimulating. You are being pulled in every direction. Emails, social media, expectations, the news. Your mind becomes a battlefield. Every notification is an arrow, every comment a bullet. And no one ever taught you how to fight on that battlefield. The Stoics were different. They did not hide from the world. They stepped into it with a mind made of steel. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, wrote in Meditations, "The victor is not the one who avoids the storm, but the one who keeps his reason through it." He wrote those words not from a palace, but in the middle of military campaigns. When the empire was in turmoil, friends betrayed him, his children died, and his body was failing. And yet he still wrote, still meditated, still stayed calm, not because he had no emotions, but because he had learned to control them. Modern science proves what Marcus already knew. Research from Stanford University shows that more than 80% of negative emotions do not come from events themselves, but from how the brain interprets those events. In other words, you do not suffer because of the world. You suffer because of the way you think about the world. Epictetus said, "No one can harm you unless you allow them to." That is not just a beautiful philosophy. It is a mental weapon. When you realize you can choose your response, you take back control of your life. Look at reality. One person gets criticized online. One breaks down, another smiles. One person fails, one quits, another learns. The difference does not lie in the circumstances, but in the control within. The Stoics practiced this every day. They did not look for peace from the outside. They forged it from within, like warriors sharpening their swords. And you can start right now. You do not need to meditate for 1 hour. You do not need to read every philosophy book. You just need to pause for 10 seconds when emotions rise. Those 10 seconds are the distance between reacting and mastering. Seneca wrote, "The strong person is not the one who never gets angry, but the one who is not controlled by anger." That is why he taught his students not to chase emotions, but to observe them, like a commander watching his soldiers. Emotions can rebel, but the commander never loses composure. You can try this right now. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, ask yourself, can I control this? And if yes, act. If no, let go. It is simple, but it is the habit of an unshakable mind. The world worships emotions. The Stoics worship reason. The world says, follow your heart. The Stoics say, control your heart. That is the line between the weak and the free. When you master your thoughts, you master your emotions. When you master your emotions, you master your actions. And when you master your actions, you master your life. But mastery does not mean numbness. It means feeling without being consumed, like a warrior looking at fire and knowing how to use it to forge steel. You may say, I cannot change the way I think. Wrong. You absolutely can. Your brain is a mental muscle. Every time you choose reason over reaction, you are training it. Just like your body changes with exercise, your mind transforms through discipline. Today, this video is not just content, it is mental training. The next 12 lessons will not just help you understand philosophy, they will help you live it. You will learn to react less, act more, think less about feelings, and live more with reason. Because peace is not a reward, it is the result of inner discipline. Discipline in thought, in reaction, in choice. From this moment on, you are not just learning Stoicism, you are living it. You will no longer ask,
Why is this so hard? You will ask, what is this training me for? That is the mindset of the top 1% of mental warriors. And if you are ready for that journey, take a deep breath, stay calm, because the next part, the 12 Stoic Lessons, begins now. Drop this. I train my mind every day. Lesson 1. You do not control the world. Only your reaction. You do not control the world. You only control how you respond to it. You can plan everything perfectly, and someone will still mess it up. You can be kind and still be misunderstood. You can love deeply and still be left behind. That is the nature of life, unpredictable and never yours to command. Epictetus said, some things are within our control, some are not. If you focus only on what you can control, you will never
be a slave to anyone. Most people suffer because they try to control what's beyond their reach. Other people's actions, outcomes, or emotions, but the Stoic knows that true power lies in reaction. When someone insults you, the world expects you to react also with anger, defense, or retaliation, but the master pauses, he breathes, he creates space between stimulus and response. That space is where power lives. Modern neuroscience proves it. Before emotions take over, the brain has about 90 seconds to process them. If you do not react within those 90 seconds, the emotion naturally fades. In other words, stillness is a biological superpower. Think about it. How many times have you regretted reacting too quickly? A message, a comment, an impulsive action, just a few seconds of losing control can create consequences that last for months. Not because the world hurt you, but because you handed the world control of your mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "When you are offended, remember, they did not harm you. It is your perception that did." If you want to be strong, start by slowing down. Not slowing in action, but slowing in reaction. That is how a warrior controls the battlefield. A modern example, you are driving and someone cuts you off. Your natural reaction is anger, honking, shouting. But pause for a second. Ask yourself, is this really worth losing my peace over? The answer is always no. You do not know what they are rushing toward, but you do know your calm is worth more than any small collision. Micro-action. Next time emotions rise, pause for 3 seconds and breathe. Breathe in, I am aware. Hold, I am in control. Breathe out, I choose peace. Just 3 seconds, but in those 3 seconds, you reclaim your power. No long philosophy needed, no need to fake calmness. Just practice control in the smallest actions. The weak let emotions decide their day. The strong decide their emotions before the day begins. That is the difference between a victim and a commander. You cannot control the rain, but you can carry a cloak. You cannot control other people, but you can control your attitude. You cannot control outcomes, but you can control your effort and response. Seneca wrote, "The wise man does not seek to change the world. He adjusts himself to live in harmony with it." That is not surrender. That is the peak of strength, because when you no longer need the world to go your way, you become untouchable. The world calls it indifference. The Stoics call it freedom. From this day on, when the world tests you, do not react. Smile, because now you understand, because every storm outside is just a test inside. When others lose control, you stay calm. When they get angry, you stay silent. When they blame, you act. When they complain, you train. That is how the top 1% live differently. Not because they are stronger, but because they choose to control themselves first. Affirmation, drop this. I control my reaction, not the world. Lesson 2. Emotions are messages, not commands. You cannot stop emotions from showing up, but you can decide what you do with them. Emotions are like guests knocking on the door of your mind. You cannot forbid them from arriving, but you have the authority to decide who gets to stay. Most people believe they are their emotions. I am angry. I am scared. I am sad. But the Stoics understood this very clearly. You are not your emotions. You are the one who observes your emotions. Seneca once wrote, "No one is truly free if he is still a slave to his own emotions." That line is a wake-up call for the modern world, where people act on feelings more than on reason. You are angry because someone insulted you, but anger does not solve anything. You are afraid of a future that has not arrived, but fear does not make that future any easier. You are sad about the past, but the past no longer obeys you. Emotions are signals, not commands. A Stoic warrior does not kill emotions, he trains them, like a rider training a wild horse, not with brutality, but with discipline and awareness. When anger rises, most people shout, react, and then regret. The Stoic takes a deep breath, allows the emotion to rise in silence, and watches it fade like smoke in the wind. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "If an emotion can be observed, it cannot control you." That is why he wrote every morning, to separate himself from the chaos inside his own mind. Emotions are not meant to be chased, they are meant to be understood. Modern science supports this. Research at Harvard shows that people who can put words to what they feel reduce negative emotional reactions in the brain by about 40%. Simply saying quietly, "I am angry," tells your brain that you are watching the emotion instead of becoming it. The emotion loses its grip. You are the one holding the reins. In real life, it looks like this. You are working and you receive a message that upsets you. Your first impulse is to react immediately, to argue, to defend your ego. But if you live with a Stoic mindset, you pause. You place your hand on your chest and ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Maybe the answer is, I feel disrespected. Then you choose your response based on reason, not on raw emotion. Instead of attacking, you reply with clarity and calm, and something powerful happens. You remain strong without being chaotic. Micro action. When an emotion appears, write down 3 lines. I am feeling. Name the exact emotion. Because of what? Identify the real source. What can I do to respond with reason? Choose one action that reflects clarity, not impulse. This simple practice turns emotion into data instead of letting it act as your commander. You cannot control when emotions arrive, but you can control how long they stay. Emotions are waves. The weak are drowned by them. The strong learn to surf them. The stronger the wave, the more stillness you need to keep your balance. The modern world tells you, always be true to your feelings. The Stoic teaching says, lead your feelings, not to become cold or lifeless, but to stay clear-minded while feeling deeply. A free mind is not a mind without emotion. It is a mind that uses emotion as a tool, instead of becoming a tool of emotion. And Seneca also said, anger is a brief madness. And if you let emotion drive the wheel, you will destroy the very road you are trying to walk. But if you learn to listen, your emotions become honest guides. Remember this, emotions do not come to destroy you, they come to teach you about yourself. Anger shows you what you need to protect. Fear shows you where you are called to be brave. Sadness shows you what truly matters to your heart. Listen to them, but do not bow to them. Tomorrow, when an emotion rises, do not ask, why do I feel like this? Ask, what can I learn from this feeling? This is how the Stoics train daily. They do not try to erase emotion. They transform emotion into strength. When you can do this, no one can easily provoke you. No situation can easily pull you down, because now you understand emotion is a signal. Action is your choice. Affirmation, drop this. I observe my emotions. I am not my emotions. Lesson 3. Negative thoughts do not need to disappear. They need to be disarmed. You cannot stop your mind from creating negative thoughts, but you can stop those thoughts from controlling you. Negative thinking is not your enemy. It is an old survival system working in the wrong environment. The human brain is wired to search for threats. Long ago, that helped your ancestors survive wild animals and storms. Today, there are no tigers in your living room, so the brain attacks emails, the look on your boss's face, or one comment on the internet. The brain does not naturally distinguish between real danger and imagined danger, and if you do not train it, it will drag you into an endless loop of negativity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The mind becomes peaceful when it stops judging." That means it is not the event that hurts you, it is the story you tell yourself about the event. You fail at something, and your mind says, I am useless. You are rejected, and your mind says, I am not worthy. You make one mistake, and your mind says, I never do anything right. These thoughts are like toxic seeds. If you do not notice them, they take root and shape your life. But the Stoic does not try to chase negative thoughts away. He observes them, questions them, and neutralizes them with reason. Epictetus taught, when a thought appears, Do not accept it immediately. Ask it, does this help me become better? That is the exercise he gave his students daily. Separate yourself from your thoughts. See them like clouds passing through the sky, and remember that you are the sky, not the clouds. A modern example. You wake up with the thought, I have no real ability. Most people believe that voice and move through the day in quiet defeat. A Stoic responds differently. He writes that sentence down and asks, what is the evidence? Suddenly, the brain is forced to answer honestly. No, yesterday I finished an important task. I have made progress. I am learning and improving. In a few minutes, the negative thought is disarmed. Science confirms this. The brain cannot hold two opposite beliefs with full strength at the same time. When you consciously replace a negative thought with a rational one, your brain begins to rewire its own pathways in a healthier direction. This is mental reprogramming through neuroplasticity, the same principle the Stoics practiced through daily journaling. Microaction. Each time a negative thought appears, draw 2 columns on the page. Column 1, what I am thinking. For example, I am a failure. Column 2, the objective truth. For example, I made mistakes, but I am learning and I am still moving forward. Repeat this habit every day, and you will see that your thoughts no longer sit on the throne. You are the one training your mind. The weak believe everything they think. The strong know that not every thought is true. Your mind is like a room. If you never take charge, it fills up with the dust of old fears and regrets. If you clean it each day with reason, it becomes a quiet place where you can live as your real self. Seneca wrote, "A restless mind does not need a peaceful world. It needs discipline to find peace inside the chaos." That peace comes when you stop wrestling with your thoughts and start turning them into fuel. Here's your challenge today. Every time a negative thought shows up, do not bury it. Do not run from it. Simply smile and say quietly, "Thank you. I heard you, but I choose not to believe you." This simple sentence is one of the strongest mental shields you can carry. The Stoic does not try to erase negativity. He turns it into training. Like a fire meeting the wind, the more the wind blows, the stronger it burns. You do not need a mind that is always positive. You need a mind that stays steady in the presence of negativity. Negative thoughts will come. But now, instead of fearing them, you can say, "I see you. You no longer own me." That is the moment you truly take command within. Because peace does not come from chasing away the dark. It comes from turning on the light of reason. Affirmation. Drop this. I do not fight my thoughts. I master them. Lesson 4. Discipline is freedom. Most people say they want freedom. Financial freedom. Freedom of time. Freedom to do what they want. But the paradox is this: they live as slaves to their emotions. They wake up only when they feel like it. They work only when they feel inspired. They stop whenever they feel tired, and then they complain that their life is stuck. They do not see the truth. A person without discipline will never be free. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "No one is free except the one who has control over himself." Discipline is not a chain. Discipline is the key that unlocks freedom. Because only when you can control yourself will you stop being controlled by the world. When you say, "I do not feel motivated," the Stoic smiles, because they know motivation is an emotion. Discipline is a decision. And those who win in life do not live by emotion. They live by the decisions they made when their mind was clear. A modern example: you want to wake up early to train. The morning is cold, the bed is warm, your mind whispers just 5 more minutes. The Stoic does not negotiate with that lazy voice. They get out of bed, not because they feel like it, but because they already made a promise to themselves. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, it is not just an action, it is an identity statement. I am the person who does what's needed, not what's easy. That first victory of the day is the moment you conquer yourself. Modern science supports this. Research from Stanford University shows that every time you do something difficult, while your mind wants to quit, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical linked to pride, perseverance, and inner strength. That means discipline does not kill,
positive emotions. It creates deeper, more stable ones. Seneca said, "The one who lives by desire is weak. The one who lives by principles is strong." Principles do not depend on mood. Principles are your compass in any situation. You do not need to ask, "Do I feel like doing this today?" You simply do what you have chosen to stand for. Micro action for the next 7 days. Start with one small discipline. Wake up at the time you promised yourself. Drink a glass of water as soon as you get up.
Or work with full focus for 30 minutes before you touch your phone. When your mind resists, say to yourself, "Thank you, but I'm training myself." Because every disciplined action is a brick in the foundation of your freedom. Discipline is not punishment. It is the highest form of self-respect. You respect yourself enough not to indulge your weakness. You respect yourself enough to endure discomfort today so you can live with strength and stability tomorrow. The weak always choose what is easy. The strong choose what is right. The weak chase comfort. The strong chase growth. In the end, only the strong live in real peace. You may think discipline sounds harsh and rigid, but remember this: freedom does not come from doing whatever you feel like. Freedom comes from not being controlled by every urge and temptation. A person who does anything he wants is not truly free if he cannot stop himself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you do what is right, even when you do not want to, you are becoming unstoppable." Look around you. 99% of people live as prisoners of what feels easy, but the remaining 1%, the ones who wake up early, stay focused and keep their promises to themselves, they are not superhuman. They are simply a little more disciplined than everyone else, one choice at a time. That small gap, repeated every day, creates a completely different life. Discipline is the only road to freedom. There's no shortcut, no magic. Only actions repeated in silence and results that speak loudly over time. Tomorrow, when your alarm rings, you will face two choices: go back to sleep and stay a slave to emotion, or get up and step into mastery. The choice is small, but it is the line between the free and the imprisoned. Affirmation: drop this. Discipline is my peace. Discipline is my power. Lesson 5, comparison is the thief of peace. You open social media, you see people who look successful, wealthy, fulfilled. You see them traveling, driving new cars, building strong bodies, and within seconds, you feel smaller. You do not see the years they spent to get there. You only see the perfect moments they chose to show you. Comparison is a natural reflex, but holding on to it is a form of self-destruction, because every time you compare, you stare at someone else's path and forget the only journey you truly have the power to change: your own. Seneca said, "The one who does not know where he is going will always look around to see where others are headed." Comparison makes you lose your direction. You stop moving forward with intention, and you start running in circles trying to catch up with others. Here is the modern pain. You see a friend get promoted, and suddenly your own job feels meaningless. You see someone post a workout picture, and your own mirror turns into a critic. You see someone smiling with their family or partner, and your own quiet happiness feels too small. No one stole your peace. You handed it away the moment you started comparing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not waste your life looking at what others are doing. Look inward to your own soul." You mean, the Stoic does not obsessively compare. He observes. He learns from others without attacking himself. He looks at another person's success as proof that something is possible, not as proof that he is behind. No envy, no shame, only action. A modern example: you see someone your age build a successful business. Your mind whispers, "He is so far ahead of me." The Stoic mindset asks different questions: how long has he been working on this? How much effort has he invested? Am I using my energy to compare or to train myself? The moment you change the question, you change your energy. You shift from jealousy to growth, from insecurity to responsibility. That is when peace returns. Modern research backs this up. Studies from the University of Michigan show that scrolling social media and comparing yourself lowers dopamine levels and raises cortisol, the stress hormone. In simple terms, even a few minutes of comparison each day slowly burns away your inner peace. Instead of building your life, you feed your mind with distortions of other people's lives. Micro action. Each time you catch yourself comparing, pause and write, "What am I comparing?" Does this make me better? What can I learn from this person? By doing this, you turn comparison into a tool for growth instead of a trap that destroys your confidence. The weak let the world decide their worth. The strong define their own value. No need to prove, no need to show off, no need to race, because they understand that every person has a different pace. Bamboo does not envy the lotus. Each grows in its own season. Seneca also wrote, "Do not look at what others possess. Look at how you are using what you already have." If you spend your time comparing, you lose the time you could use to become better than the person you were yesterday. Here's your challenge. Turn off social media for 24 hours. Instead of looking at other people's lives, write down 3 things about yourself that you are grateful for today. Practice this daily, and you will start to feel complete without performing for anyone. Peace does not come from having more than others. Peace comes from not needing to compete with anyone to feel worthy. When you stop comparing, you do not fall behind. You finally start walking your real path. You work quietly, you move slowly but consistently, and one day, others will look at you and compare themselves to you. You will just smile, because by then you know the truth. The only race worth running is the one against your previous self. Affirmation. Drop this. I do not compare. I focus. I rise. Lesson 6. Pain is a coach, not an enemy. No one wants pain, but every true warrior knows this. Pain is the only real school that forges strength. The weak run away from pain. The Stoic walks straight into it with eyes wide open. We are raised to avoid hardship. Do not fail. Do not be embarrassed. Do not get hurt. But that mindset makes people weaker, because when you avoid pain, you also avoid the chance to grow. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The obstacle is the way." That is not just a quote, it is the compass of the Stoic mind. Every difficulty, every setback, every wound is a hidden training session that the universe sends you to test whether you are truly worthy of what you say you want. Look back at your own life. The seasons that made you stronger, were they the easy ones or the ones where you lost something, were betrayed, and had to stand up alone when no one came to save you? In the darkest nights, your will is sharpened. In comfort, your will becomes soft. Seneca said, "No one becomes great without having endured." The Stoic does not pray for a softer life. He prays to become stronger than his problems. He understands. Pain does not come to punish him. It comes to prepare him. A modern example: if someone wants a stronger body, he lifts heavier weight. If someone wants a stronger mind, he faces what terrifies him. Muscle pain is not the enemy. It is proof that growth is happening. Emotional pain works the same way. Every time you endure, every time you refuse to quit, you are lifting weight for your soul. Yet today's world teaches the opposite. When you are sad, you are told to distract yourself. When you are lonely, you are told to fill the silence with anyone or anything. When you are stressed, you are told to complain and escape. The world is terrified of discomfort. The Stoic uses discomfort because he knows pain is raw energy. If you channel it, it becomes fuel. Microaction. Each time you face something hard, say quietly to yourself, this is my training. You are criticized. This is training in patience. You are rejected. This is training in persistence. You fail. This is training in adaptability. There is no real lesson learned in a life where everything is easy. Modern science confirms this. The brain only changes under pressure. The right amount of stress activates the hippocampus, the center of learning and memory. In simple words, struggle is a requirement for evolution. Those who avoid it stop evolving. Those who face it grow faster than everyone else. Marcus Aurelius used to remind himself each morning, "Today I will meet the ungrateful, the arrogant, the dishonest, the jealous, but they cannot harm me because I am prepared." This is the peak of mental training, expecting hardship and welcoming it with calm. The weak say, "Why me?" The Stoic says, "Why not me?" The weak search for a way out of pain. The strong draw their sword and walk through it because they know that on the other side of pain is the strongest version of themselves. Pain is not blocking your path. It is the path. Without resistance, there is no strength. Without loss, there is no perspective. Without difficulty, there is no maturity. Everything you are running from right now is the very test that proves whether you mean what you say you want. Challenge for this week: Choose one thing that makes you uncomfortable and do it first thing in the morning. Not to hurt yourself, but to remind yourself that a small pain today can save you from a much larger pain tomorrow. When you dare to face what you fear, you discover it was never as powerful as your imagination. You are far stronger than you think. And once you learn how to stand firm in the storm, you stop being afraid of storms. From today on, look at pain with different eyes. No longer as your enemy, but as your toughest coach. The one who does not praise you, does not comfort you, but shapes you into a warrior who cannot be broken. Affirmation. Drop this. Pain trains me. I do not run, I rise. Lesson 7. Time is your only true asset. Everything you own, money, career, status, possessions, can be lost and rebuilt. Time is the only thing that, once gone, never returns. Seneca wrote, "No one is more stingy than the person who wastes his time. You can lose money and earn it back, but every passing second is a piece of your life erased forever." Yet the paradox is this: people protect their wallets more carefully than they protect their hours. Ask yourself honestly, how much of your time is truly lived and how much is simply passing by? You say you have no time to read, to train, to grow, but you have hours to scroll, watching other people live while your own life stands still. The Stoics called this self-abandonment, because when you do not control your time, you are allowing others to control your life. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death stands beside you. While you live, while you can, become good." He was not being dark. He was waking you up. Time is not your enemy. Time is the fairest teacher. Those who use it wisely rise. Those who waste it slowly disappear from their own story. A modern example. You say, "I do not have time to change," but you watch dozens of short videos every night. You say, "I am too busy," but you scroll social media without even thinking. You do not lack time. You lack intention. Time is the only currency that's perfectly fair. Everyone receives 24 hours in a day. No one has more, no one has less. The difference is not in the amount of time, but in how they choose to spend it. The strong treat time like a strategist. The weak let it leak away through meaningless habits. Modern research shows that every time you are interrupted, your brain needs about 23 minutes to return to full focus. So, one quick notification does not just steal a few seconds, it shatters your deep focus. Your time is not only lost, it is sliced into pieces too small to build anything meaningful. The Stoics protected their focus the way they protected their character. Seneca called it the art of intentional living. They did not let days vanish without knowing what those days were for. Micro-action. Today, write down how you spent your time. Mark what was truly necessary and what was useless. Tomorrow, remove just one useless activity, only one. That alone is a victory. Repeat this for 7 days, and you will have more time than most people ever feel they have. Modern people are terrified of losing money. The Stoic is terrified of wasting time, because money can buy comfort, but only time can shape character. The world will try to steal your time with noise, drama, headlines, gossip, and endless comparisons, but you have the power to say no. Core lesson. Do not wait until you are exhausted or broken to realize how precious your time is. Do not hide behind fake busyness to avoid facing your lack of direction. You were not born just to be busy. You were born to live with purpose. Every minute that passes is a quiet reminder that your life account is being spent. The real question is not how much time do I have, but what am I putting into the time I have? Challenge: for the next 24 hours, live as if today is the last full day you are given. Say what you need to say. Take one action you have delayed. Ignore every meaningless distraction. When you live with that awareness, everything becomes sharper, and you will never again throw away your hours so easily. Marcus Aurelius said, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, what you say, and what you think." This is not meant to scare you. It is meant to free you. Only when you remember that time is limited do you start to live fully. Time is a loyal ally to those who honor it, and a silent enemy to those who ignore it. From today on, Do not just count your days. Make your days count. Affirmation. Drop this. I protect my time. I live with purpose. Lesson 8. Stillness is the power of mastery. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, the one who can remain silent is as rare as gold. Everyone wants to say something, to prove something, but the more they talk, the more they expose their lack of self-control. The Stoic is the opposite. He does not need to prove himself because he understands the value of stillness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The greatest power is to remain calm when everything is in chaos." Stillness is not the absence of words, it is the absence of the need to speak. It is not the silence of fear, it is the silence of strength. Have you noticed that those who lose their temper the fastest are often the weakest in the room? They shout, they argue, they try to force others to see that they are right. But the truly strong person watches, smiles, and chooses silence because he understands that other people's emotions do not deserve the power to steal his peace. When you react, you hand control of your mind to someone else. When you remain still, you take that control back. That is why stillness is the mark of wisdom. Seneca said, "Let others show off. You focus on becoming better." Stillness is where real strength is built. From silence, you can hear the voice of reason. From silence, you can see the path that noisy people are blind to. A modern example. Someone attacks you publicly with harsh words. You have two options: react or observe. Most people react immediately, defending themselves, fighting back, protecting their image. The Stoic breathes. He knows their words are only wind. They only have power if I accept them. By tomorrow, they will forget what they said, but you could still be carrying the anger. So who really lost stillness is not weakness. It is the strategy of the one who controls the game. Neuroscience explains this clearly. When you stay calm, your brain activates the prefrontal cortex, the center of reason and decision. When you react emotionally, the amygdala, the center of fear and impulse, takes over. So stillness is not only a noble quality, it is the biological advantage of the wise. Micro-action. For the next 24 hours, practice the 10 seconds of silence. Every time someone annoys you or triggers you, count 10 beats in your mind before you respond. In those 10 seconds, the emotional wave loses its force and you rise above the situation. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Do not let others pull you down to their level." When you stay silent, you remain in the position of leadership. When you react, you step into their arena. A general does not need to scream. His quiet decision moves an entire army. The world confuses noise with strength. In reality, stillness is the true authority. The weak need noise to feel important. The strong can speak with one look. The weak are dragged around by opinions and comments. The strong can hear their own inner voice. Remember this, no one can make you lose your peace unless you grant them permission. You do not need to win every argument. You only need to keep your state of mind. Calm is a form of victory, silent but absolute. The Stoic does not search for silence outside. He builds silence within. In the loudness of the world, he can still hear one clear sentence: "I am doing what is right." That voice is his compass through all confusion. Challenge. Choose one situation that usually makes you react: a negative comment, a rude remark, a small argument. Next time it happens, do not rush to respond. Observe, breathe, smile slightly, and think, "I do not need to prove anything. I only need to remain in control." The first time will feel difficult, but every time you hold your calm, you are forging steel in your soul. Stillness is not escape. Stillness is self-leadership. In a loud crowd, the quiet one in control of himself is usually the one with real power. When you master silence, you do not just control your words, you begin to control your fate. Affirmation. Drop this. I choose silence. I control the storm within. Lesson 9. Everything is impermanent. Everything you have right now, your body, your possessions, your relationships, your reputation, is temporary. Nothing lasts forever. When you truly understand this, you stop clinging, you stop fearing loss, and you finally start living honestly. The Stoic does not fear loss. He accepts it as part of the order of the universe. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything you love will soon pass away faster than you think." This is not a reason to be afraid. It is a reason to, and now, love more deeply. Society teaches you to hold on tightly to your career, your image, your youth, your relationships, but the tighter you grip, the more you suffer. When you try to freeze what is meant to change, you fight nature itself, and that is a battle you will always lose. The Stoic does not run from impermanence. He sits with it, looks it in the eye, and says, "I know, and I am ready." Accepting impermanence does not make you weaker. It frees you from fear. Seneca wrote, "We suffer not because things are lost, but because we believe we can keep them forever." This is a warning to anyone who is attached to the illusion of permanence. You fear losing the people you love, but you forget that every moment with them is already a gift. You fear time, but time is the very thing that makes each second meaningful. A modern example, you buy a new phone and feel excited. A short time later, it feels normal. You fall in love and feel fire. Over time, the feeling softens and you start to ask, why is it not like the beginning? It is not that love has died. It is that all feelings follow the rule of impermanence. Instead of being afraid that something will fade, the Stoic is grateful it existed at all. Accepting impermanence does not mean giving up on life. It means living more fully in every moment. When you know something can be lost, you love with more presence, you speak more kindly, you work with more heart, because you understand that later is not guaranteed. There is only now. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning, "Today is a gift. Everything I see, touch, and love is already slowly leaving." He was not depressed, he was awake. Science points to the same truth. The human brain has a stability bias, a tendency to believe things will stay as they are, but your cells, your thoughts, your relationships, your environment are changing every second. When you fight this truth, you suffer. When you accept it, you are released. Micro-action. Each day, choose one person, one object, or one moment and whisper to yourself, "This may not be here forever, so I honor it right now." This simple act makes your life 10 times deeper. The one who fears loss is often the one who has never fully lived. The Stoic does not cling because he knows value is not in owning forever, but in being fully present while it exists. He looks at a sunset and knows it will end, and that is exactly why it is beautiful. He knows the person he loves may leave one day, so he loves with a heart that will not regret. He knows his body will age, so he uses his strength while he has it, like a warrior who respects his short time on the battlefield. Challenge: this week, write down 3 things you are most afraid to lose. Then, instead of worrying, take one concrete action to appreciate each of them. Call someone you care about, write a short note of gratitude, or sit in silence. And tell yourself, "I am alive, this is enough." When you truly understand impermanence, you find peace even in endings. Nothing is terrifying once you understand that everything born was always meant to change and eventually leave. The same rule applies to pain. It does not last forever either. No darkness can stand forever under the light of awareness. The Stoic lives as someone who is always ready, no panic, no desperate attachment, because he understands the simplest law of the universe. Everything changes, and that is what makes life precious. When you accept impermanence, you do not lose everything. You lose your fear, and in that moment, you become truly free. Affirmation: drop this. I accept change. I live fully now. Lesson 10. No one owes you anything. One of the deepest roots of human suffering is the belief that others should behave according to our expectations. You help someone and expect gratitude. You love someone and expect them to love you back. You work hard and expect recognition. When these expectations are not met, you feel hurt, bitter, and betrayed. The Stoic understands a difficult but liberating truth. No one owes you anything. No one owes you respect, understanding, thank you, or opportunity. The world does not revolve around you, and when you accept this, you free yourself from a lifetime of disappointment. Epictetus said, "If you want others to act exactly as you wish, you will always be unhappy. If you choose to accept people and events as they are, no one can truly harm you." This is the foundation of inner freedom.
You cannot control how others respond. You can only control your intention and your action. When you do the right thing, do it because it is right, not because you are waiting for applause. The Stoic does not look to the outside world for fairness. He creates fairness inside himself. A modern example. You carry most of the weight in a team project, but your boss praises someone else. You support your friends, but they forget to say thank you. You love someone with honesty, but they leave without explanation. Most people will complain, blame, and close their hearts. The Stoic breathes and thinks, I acted according to my values. That is enough. The worth of your action is not determined by who notices it, but by who you are when you choose it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, do good and move on, like a rose that gives fragrance without asking for approval. Live with integrity even when no one is watching. Be kind, even when no one claps for you. This is not weakness. This is the strength of self-mastery. When you think someone owes you, you give them power over your emotions. If they do not respond as you hoped, your peace collapses. When you drop that belief, you take your power back. Freedom does not come from having everything. It comes from not needing the world to pay you back. Psychology research shows
that people with a strong sense of entitlement, those who constantly feel they deserve more from others, suffer higher levels of frustration and stress. Those who practice acceptance and gratitude sleep better, feel stronger, and live happier. The Stoics knew this long ago. Less expectation, less suffering. Micro-action. Today, do one good thing for someone and tell no one. Offer help, send support, or make something easier for another person without leaving your name, without waiting for a thank you. This is training for absolute inner freedom. Seneca said, no one can insult you without your consent. In the same way, no one can disappoint you if you never believed they were responsible for your happiness. The less you demand, the lighter your soul becomes. The fewer expectations you place on others, the more unbreakable you are. The weak need recognition to feel worthy. The strong recognize themselves. The weak act for attention. The strong act from principle. The weak are always wounded by expectations. The strong are calm because they expect nothing. Challenge. For the next 3 days, every time you feel disappointed or angry at someone, ask yourself, what was I silently expecting from them? Then remove that expectation and replace it with, I am responsible for my own emotions. Practice this long enough, and your mind becomes untouchable. When you stop demanding that the world must be fair to you, you become immune. No one can control your inner state because you have taken back the key. No resentment, no begging for validation, no emotional chains, only action with integrity and the peace that follows. That is freedom in its purest Stoic form. Affirmation, drop this. No one owes me anything. I act with integrity. Lesson 11. Calm is the sharpest weapon in today's chaotic world. Everyone is in a rush. Everyone wants to speak, to win, to prove themselves. But the Stoic knows a simple secret. The one who stays calm is the one who wins in the end. Calm is not weakness. Calm is strength under control. It is fire that knows when to burn. It is a lion that knows when to roar and when to stay silent. Marcus Aurelius wrote, calmness is the highest expression of strength. This is not a moral slogan. It is a survival rule for anyone who wants an unshakable mind. When you lose your calm, you lose your power. You lose control of your emotions. You lose the ability to choose your response. In the end, you lose control over your own life. Anger can destroy a relationship. One careless sentence can burn an opportunity. One impulsive moment can cost you years of regret. The weak react, the strong master their reaction. The weak shout to be heard. The strong stay quiet to see clearly. A modern example, you receive an offensive comment online. Your first instinct is to fire back, to argue, to defend yourself. But if you pause and breathe, you see the truth, that person is not worth your peace. You simply smile, move on, and get back to your mission. You are not avoiding conflict. You are choosing a battlefield worthy of your energy. Seneca wrote, "There is nothing more pitiful than a man who lets others control his emotions." If one sentence can make you explode, you have handed your inner world to a stranger. If you stay calm, you win one of the most important battles. the battle within. Neuroscience backs this up. Well, when you are angry, the amygdala takes over and pushes you into impulsive action. When you take a deep breath and stay calm, the prefrontal cortex, the center of logic and judgment, comes back online. And in about 6 seconds of silence, your brain shifts from reacting to leading. 6 seconds can turn rage into training. Micro action. When you feel anger rising, follow 3 steps. First, breathe in deeply. Second, look around and ground yourself in the present moment. Third, say quietly in your mind, "This is a test of my strength." With just a few seconds of awareness, you reclaim control that no one can steal. The Stoic does not let the world drag him into chaos. He is the eye of the storm, calm at the center, clear in every move. In a noisy crowd, his calm is not slowness. It is precision. Marcus Aurelius said, "Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing against. It stands firm, and the raging sea falls still at its feet." You cannot stop the waves, but you can choose to be the rock. Look at those who are truly great. They do not let emotional outbursts sabotage their long-term vision. They know when to respond and when to remain silent. No one can control a person who controls his calm. Calm is the shield that protects your reason. Calm is the foundation of every wise decision. Challenge. This week, choose one situation where you usually lose control. A difficult person, a stressful task, a tense conversation. Each time emotion rises, imagine you are an emperor on the throne, surrounded by chaos, but your face does not move. That simple image is enough to harden your resolve. Calm does not come from running away from the world. It comes from learning to stand steady inside the storm. No one is born with perfect calm, but anyone can train it. The calm person is not numb. He simply chooses which emotions are worthy of his energy. One day someone will shout at you, insult you, try to provoke you, and you will simply smile, because you know, if my calm upsets you, I have already won. Affirmation. Drop this. Calm is my power. I am unshakable. Lesson 12. Everything begins within. You have walked through every lesson, mastering your reactions, emotions, thoughts, time, discipline, and pain. Now you arrive at the root of it all. Everything in your life begins from the inside. The Stoic understands that the world will not bend itself just to make you comfortable, but you can train your mind so that even in the middle of chaos, you remain at peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Your happiness depends on the quality of your thoughts. If your thoughts are clear, your life feels clear. If your mind is in turmoil, the whole world looks chaotic. We spend our lives trying to fix the outside. We want people to understand us. We want a better job. We want a fairer society. We want someone to love us the way we imagine. But few truly see this. When you change within, your entire experience of the outside changes. No one can make you happy if you do not know how to be at peace with yourself. No one can give you calm if your mind is screaming. No one can make you strong if you refuse to stand up for your own life. Epictetus said, "If you wish to improve the world, begin by improving yourself." This is not just philosophy, it is the most practical strategy for inner freedom. When you change your thoughts, you change your emotions. When you change your emotions, you change your actions. When your actions change, your life changes. It all starts in one place, within. A modern example. 2 people lose their job on the same day. The first person collapses, blames everything, and gives up. The second person sees an opening to reinvent his life. Same event, 2 completely different stories. The difference is not the world. The difference is the mindset. You can live in the same city, the same room, with the same income, but if your heart is full of gratitude, that place becomes a blessing. If your mind is full of resentment, the same place becomes a prison. The world has no fixed color. Your mind is the lens that paints it. Modern psychology calls this the mental mirror. Your brain constantly looks for proof to confirm what you already believe. If you believe life is only against you, you will only notice what goes wrong. If you believe you can grow, you will start to notice chances hidden inside every problem. The Stoics knew this long before science gave it a name. They turned it into a way of life. Micro action. Every morning, Before your day begins, write one sentence. Today, I will focus only on what is in my control. That one line is not just words. It resets your entire mindset for the day. Because when you rule your inner world, you no longer beg the outer world to save you. The weak wait for circumstances to change so they can feel peaceful. The strong create peace inside and bring it into every circumstance. The weak search for strength outside in other people, in praise, in status. The strong discover that real strength is built in their own thoughts and choices. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each night, everything I need is already within me. That is the key to true freedom. Because once you realize that your inner resources are enough, the world outside loses its power to break you. Challenge. For the next 7 days, whenever something negative happens, ask yourself, what can I control in this moment? If there is something you can do, act. If there is nothing you can do, breathe, release it, and move on. Repeat this until it becomes your nature. You will start to feel a quiet strength rising inside you. That is the Stoic mind awakening. When you finally choose to look within, instead of running away from yourself, everything shifts. You work with more clarity, you love with more honesty, you face fear with more steadiness. You become unshakable because you understand that happiness, peace, and freedom are built from the inside out, not delivered from the outside in. This final lesson is the foundation of all the others. You cannot master discipline, time, reaction, or pain if you do not first master your inner world. It all starts there and it all returns there. Turn inward. There you will meet the strongest version of yourself. Affirmation, drop this. Everything I need is within me. Identity, transformation, becoming the Stoic warrior. At this point, you have walked through 12 lessons, 12 doors into your inner world. Each door opened a truth, a part of yourself you had forgotten. No longer the one who reacts. No longer the one dragged around by emotion. No longer the victim of circumstances. You are becoming a Stoic warrior, someone who does not just study philosophy, but lives it. Look back and you will see the world has not changed. You no longer demand that life must be easy. You now demand that you must be stronger. In your old identity, you chase safety. You tried to avoid pain, avoid failure, avoid uncomfortable emotions. Now you understand that pain is not the enemy. Pain is your coach. Pain is the test that proves you deserve your strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The one who seeks only safety will never find peace. The one who accepts hardship will become free." You who have walked through these 12 principles are stepping into that state, inner freedom. Now, when the world becomes chaotic, you do not shake. Others explode. You stay quiet. Others judge. You smile. Others run from fear. You walk straight into it. You no longer ask, why is this happening to me? You ask, what is this trying to forge in me? That is the question of someone transformed, someone who understands that every challenge is a forge that turns you into steel. Imagine this. One morning, you wake up and your mind is no longer your enemy. You are no longer torn between want and should, between fear and courage. You move in one direction, action guided by reason. You are no longer at war with the world. You are in training with yourself, and you win. You get out of bed, not because you feel like it, but because you are committed. You work not for applause, but because it is the right thing to do. You love not from fear of being alone, but from a place of fullness. You stay silent, not because you are weak, but because you understand that real power does not need noise. When you reach this point, everything on the outside seems to slow down. Others argue, you observe, others collapse, you take action, others compare, you focus, others waste time. You invest in yourself, because now you know every real battle is fought in the mind. Epictetus said, no one can harm you unless you give them permission. Now that line is no longer just theory, it has become instinct. You have been through enough pain, enough failure, enough storms to understand this. Peace is not granted. Peace is trained. The Stoic does not go searching for the light. The Stoic becomes the light. He does not need the world to understand him. He needs to understand himself. That is the greatest form of freedom. You are no longer wandering around begging for a life purpose. You create meaning through your daily actions. You do what is right even when no one sees it. You choose the hard path because you know growth lives there. You guard your thoughts because you know your thoughts build your world. You are the one who walks through the storm without trembling. Others see chaos. You see training. Others feel pressure. You feel the weight that builds mental muscle. Every failure is no longer a full stop. It is a heavier set in the gym for your soul. Seneca wrote, "The person who is trained for every hardship will never be surprised." That is you now. You are prepared. You are no longer afraid of failure because you know failure is only an unfinished version of victory. As you move through this journey, your values shift from easy to worthy, from motivation to discipline, from needing love to loving yourself, from wanting more to needing less, from fear of loss to gratitude while it is here. And in that shift, you are no longer just living, you are awake, stillness. You hear your own breathing, one deep breath, and you realize this is the moment you have been searching for all along. No fireworks, no cheering crowd, just you and a mind that has been tamed. That is the real victory. Invisible to the world, unshakable inside you. You have become someone the world cannot control. No insult can shatter you. No failure can erase you. No event can move you off your path. You are the center of the storm, and every wind only proves how firmly you stand. From today on, you are no longer your old self. You do not need to pretend to be strong. You are strong. Every decision, every action now carries the mark of discipline, reason, and awareness. And you do not live to avoid suffering. You live to become unbreakable. When you understand that no one owes you anything, when you see pain as a coach, when you lead your emotions instead of obeying them, and when you know that everything begins within, you are no longer just a person. You are your own monument, a symbol of self-mastery, peace, and persistence. This is the moment of identity transformation. The moment you do not just understand Stoic philosophy, you live it in every breath, every thought, every step. And if anyone asks you who is a Stoic warrior, tell them this: a Stoic warrior is not the one who needs to defeat others. A Stoic warrior is the one who defeats himself every day, because he knows every storm outside is only a reflection of the storm within. And when the inside is calm, no storm can make him fall. Final affirmation: drop this. I am the calm in the storm. I am the Stoic. Closing ritual: peace, discipline, and the rise of the Stoic warrior. If you have come this far, you are no longer a random viewer. You are one of the rare few who dared to face themselves. You have walked through 12 lessons, and each one was a battle with your mind, your emotions, your habits, and your fears. No one forced you to go this deep. You chose it. That choice already sets you apart. Pause for a moment, close your eyes, breathe in slowly, and feel what is changing inside you. The noise is quieter. The chaos has faded. There is a steady stillness, like a lake after the storm. This is not the end of a video. This is the beginning of a new identity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not waste time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one." Right now, that is exactly what you're doing. These 12 lessons are not theory. They are a mental training ritual. When you practice them daily, you are not just changing habits. You are rebuilding who you are, from reactive to in control, from easily shaken to solid as stone, from chasing peace outside to generating peace from within. Now each morning you no longer need motivation, you need only one reminder: I am Stoic. When hardship appears, you do not say, "Why me?" You say, "This is my test." When someone tries to hurt you, you do not explode. You smile inside because you know no one else holds the keys to your mind. The Stoic does not live to avoid suffering. The Stoic lives to move through it and become indestructible. The Stoic does not run from the world. The Stoic enters the world with a heart that cannot be shaken. That is the purpose of this journey, to turn you into someone who cannot be broken. If you feel that quiet shift rising inside you, if you sense a calm but powerful energy waking up, then congratulations. The Stoic warrior within you has opened his eyes. But the journey does not end here. Philosophy is not meant to be consumed. It is meant to be practiced, forged, and shared. From now on, every day is training. Every problem is a lesson. Every moment of silence is a chance to apply what you have learned. Every time you stay calm in chaos, you're writing the next page in your own Stoic journal. Seneca said, "There is no path to peace. Peace is the path." Walk that path, step by step, breath by breath. Never forget what you are building: a free will, a strong soul, an unshakable mind. Now act like this video, not for the algorithm, but as a promise to yourself. I choose to live as a Stoic. Comment this affirmation as a shared ritual with the Stoic Rise community. I control my thoughts. I control my life. When you write it, you are carving a vow into your consciousness. Do not just think it, write it. Let your hand follow your new mind. Share this video with someone who needs it, not to preach to them, but to pass on the Stoic flame in a world full of noise. Maybe only one person will truly hear it. That is enough. This is how philosophy spreads from one awakened mind to another. Subscribe to continue the Stoic Rise journey. Each week, another part of your mind will be trained, another rule, another habit, another principle to sharpen your life. There is no final level. The path of the Stoic warrior lasts a lifetime. One last reminder: you will have weekdays, days when you want to quit, days when you forget these lessons and react again. Do not hate yourself for it. The Stoic is not perfect. The Stoic is consistent. He falls, stands back up, and continues training. Every time you return to discipline, you move one step closer to true peace. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself in his journal, even when you fall, rise with the dignity of one who understands. That is the spirit of Stoic Rise. You do not need perfection. You need persistence. When you close this video, remember, life will still test you, but now you are armed. Every Stoic principle is a shield. Every right action is a sword. Your mind is a fortress that cannot be conquered. You have not only learned 12 lessons, you have become them. They are no longer just words. They are your nature. Now lift your head, take a deep breath, look into the mirror, and say 3 times, slowly and firmly, I am the calm in the storm. I am the discipline in chaos. I am the Stoic. Then step forward. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to stand with others on this path, to build the Stoic Rise community, a place where strong minds meet, where ordinary people forge extraordinary character. When you walk away from this video, do not say, I watched it. Say, I began. Final affirmation, drop this: I do not chase calm. I become calm. I am Stoic Rise.